All right, so let's get it started. So once again, welcome to today's demo, and every one of you here is to learn DevOps. And so first, let's try to understand how the DevOps market is, by the way. So how the DevOps market predictions are from the famous financial institutions or financial survey institutions or companies, whoever is doing. So I have just copied a couple of screenshots from the Google, by the way. So you can also type it out. So, but everywhere you can see the trend is definitely going to be the next decade is completely going to be a future for DevOps. Okay, so that's what clearly the market indicates us, and that's where so investing on DevOps is a good thing, is what I believe, and of course I'll be telling you the same thing as well, right? So uh, and anyhow, so all these particular market predictions lead us to understand so how DevOps market is going to be in the next at least the 10 years, by the way. So whatever it is, it's we are going to reach to, we are very few, by the way. So at least 2016-17, the predictions were we were less than a billion revenue market cap on this particular role. Okay, but later on, by the way, at least market is expecting, like, so at least you see this like 30 billion to 2028, or even if you look into by 2030, by the way. So certain companies are expecting some 25% growth on the DevOps market. So eventually, like, whatever the reasons it is, uh, DevOps is definitely something which is been happening in the market from the last decade, and in the next decade also we can see it a significant growth out there as well. Okay, and so to start with, in order to understand where this DevOps is coming from, in order to understand, so I would like to start with helping you understanding what is there before DevOps and how this particular DevOps thing has been evolved from there, and what are the things that we are going to learn in that particular training. So that is what is today's agenda. All right, and so myself is Raghu, and I am a trainer, okay, for this particular training, and of course I'm the trainer. And however, I'm just a part-time trainer. I'm a full-time employee to an organization. I do just part-time trainings, and also I work for little giant organizations where the applications were too big, by the way. So, and so definitely I feel like, so that enterprise knowledge will definitely help you in answering the things, or telling you the things, or teaching you the things in a better way. And also we have delivered almost like this is 67th batch. So for 65 batches has been delivered from my side exclusively with DevOps on AWS. And prior to that, so I used to also teach only cloud, okay, so only application related things like only DevOps. And also, like, I used to teach with some of the Linux and scripting things I used to teach. But by the way, so but from few years, at least like 5-6 years, my focus is only on, or my teachings, what majorly going on is DevOps with AWS majorly. Okay, at least the DevOps, and now it is DevOps with AWS. Yeah, I'm hoping, like, so my experience definitely will help you in telling you the things in a better way. So that's what I would feel. And almost like as a trainer, I almost have 11 years of experience, and as an IT experience, I'm closing to 15 years of experience into IT industry. All right, so let's come back to the point. So we wanted to talk about the agenda today, which is before DevOps. And just once again, a small request from my side is, so just for today, please hold your questions till end of the session. And at the end of the session, we'll have an enough discussion about all your queries. Okay. Until then, just please, just for today, okay, not from tomorrow at least, just for today demo session, just to happen it in time. So I would like to go in this particular manner. All right, coming back to the point. So before DevOps, or in order to understand, so if you are getting a job, first we need to understand there is somewhere a business is involved, and that particular business needs a person to perform, and that's where you get a role, and that's where you get a job, isn't it? So that, let's say company, if a company is giving you as a DevOps engineer, so that means there is a requirement, by the way. So what is who gives the requirement? The business does the requirement, isn't it? So a product development is the business that where we actually come from. Okay, So that's where in the product development, so there is something called as SDLC, software development lifecycle. In this particular lifecycle, so the products will using this particular lifecycle are the products developed in product get developed in SDLC, software development lifecycle. So the product development itself is called as SDLC. Okay, and over here, so there are certain teams or certain methodologies which are there, so that teams follow in order to achieve their goals. Okay, so they will have certain roadmap tells that you have to what are the best things, what are the do's and don'ts, everything they will try to explain in SDLC for the product management, and following those particular policies, okay, we will try to achieve to gain our goal or to complete our goals, by the way. So that is what the SDLC is going to happen. Okay, so the product goals, by the way, and over there there is two major models. There are at least more than 10 models which were there, but at least like if we take the significant numbers in the usage, there are two models. There were two models, or there were two models, which is called as waterfall model. It was waterfall model earlier. Now it is mostly like scrumfall, or also we call it as agile, by the way. All right. So waterfall model, by the way, is a model that we used to kind of gather the requirements and deliver the product, and we can say that it kind of done, by the way. That is how the software development lifecycle is. But today it is not happening that way. So it is happening like continuous development is going on, and continuous releases is happening to the customer. So you take any product, it was waterfall model, now it is agile model. A best example I would give it to you from my side is at least for the waterfall model to understand. So whoever have a knowledge of using the Windows operating system a decade back, not even a decade back, if you look in 2 decades back, so whenever the Windows operating system, so when they release a Windows operating system, they release a Windows operating system. That's it. Like there is no update, something like that. Something they used to release once in a 6 months or once in a year. They used to release a service pack for your existing operating system. Again, a big service pack they used to release. Okay, Windows operating system is definitely a waterfall model, and it takes a long time to develop and release. Okay, so and that means still waterfall model it is going on. Okay, so still waterfall model it is going on to at least to release the first version. Maybe the next versions there might be going on agile, right? So that's how so Windows operating systems, if you observe, like you will find out a new operating system coming in 3 years, but maybe today the updates are coming very frequently. Once in a month also, at least you'll see one update coming from Windows, right? So that means they are actually trying to release the software a little bit faster, maybe at least the patching, they're doing the things, because that is the nature of business. Maybe the major product takes a longer time, and but for the for the shorter releases, they are going with some sort of scrum fall. Whereas coming to the scrum fall, so scrum fall is their main ideology is release the product, MVP we call it as minimum viable product. Okay, so MVP agile we call it as, which is nothing but a MVP, minimal viable product. So this minimum viable product is the one which we take it to the market. Okay, WhatsApp you take. WhatsApp is a basic example. What is an MVP of WhatsApp? You need to send the message over the data, and it has to receive over the data, because back in days the pain was SMS charges. You want to send a message, SMS charges was a pain. So that's where the WhatsApp idea was, why don't we send it over the data, right? So at times, that times data was okay, and their idea was, why don't we send the text messages over
Unmuted.
the data? That was a simple idea it was started with, and now they started, that is the MVP. But today the WhatsApp is stopping their features, no, right? So continuously, at least every 6 months, you're seeing some or other feature coming in WhatsApp, and continuous security fixings, right? So they're continuously doing that. So that is basically, which is something like a agile model. So you take any mobile applications, by the way, so it is going to be agile model. So today every application is trying to run towards agile. Okay, that is fine. So the software development is happening in these models, but where is this DevOps actually? What we're talking about? So, but our intention is where this DevOps is coming from, right? So that's fine. I'm trying to talk about the business first. So the business, this is the where actually the product development will happen. The product development in waterfall model used to happen out there, and there are different teams which are involved in there. Okay, and the different teams are we used to gather the requirements, we design the things, we develop the things, we test the things, and we deploy the things, or maintenance we call it as. Okay, and however, so the teams actually involved in each and every of this particular layer are to gather the requirements. So we used to have a person called as business analyst. So still we have business analyst is a role who analyzes the business requirements and tell to the product team that, hey, so our customers are looking in this dimension, so we need certain feature in this dimension, so we need to, we can enhance our we can enhance our application in this dimension. So they give the ideas, they collect the ideas. Okay, so the business analyst team is going to analyze the market, and they're going to come and tell that, hey, these are the requirements. And after that, so there are certain people who are little architects kind of a thing. So they kind of design the things, like, the product, whoever is a product owner and all. So maybe a product owner, or sometimes it's only an, so a senior developers who has an extensive experience on developing the application. So they kind of understand the requirements and design the things. Okay, this has to, okay, this is the requirement, maybe this is the thing. So for an example, like, let's say okay, so today I wanted to, so I'm in a training business, by the way. Maybe, like, I can think about, like, so how can I so get on to some sort of I'm in a training model. Maybe I want to start a company, or maybe not to start a company, by the way. In the same training business, by the way, I am doing only single course, by the way. I'm an individual, I'm doing single course. Now let's say I wanted to increase this to, or I wanted to, just expand this particular business in multiple verticals. Maybe the training, I want to start with consulting, so that I want to recruit a people, something like that. So if that thing requires an application to develop, okay, maybe mine is little okay. Now let's say I want to start a consulting, so that means that requires a marketing. Now assume that, so that I wanted to send a message, like, let's say a message to 10,000 people a day. So then I have to design a system accordingly. Okay, I cannot, the messages will not just go like that, right? We have to design a system. Okay, now sending a 10,000 machines, 10,000 messages, like how to send, like, all at once, maybe if, so maybe a batches at once. We have to design all these particular things in order to send the things, right? So, and next thing is, what are the products would support this? Okay, so I need to make an application, or there are any services available. Okay, whether I can go with the cloud or purchase my servers, all these particular criteria is a kind of a design they make it. Okay, so kind of a thing. And finally, so once it is fine, so those features will, come to the developers. Okay, so I mean, as a ticket or something like that, it comes to the developers to work on. So the developers will start working on those requirements. So for an example, now I want to send a 10,000 messages. Now I am saying, like, all the 10,000 messages should go at once, and our application should support it. Okay, so that means, like, an application which is going to send a 10 messages capacity versus 10,000 capacity, there is a significant difference in the performance as well. So they have to look into the performance aspects, all these particular things they understand, and they start writing the code. So it's going to develop by the code, and they develop the code, and after that the QA team comes into picture. So in order to use a product, in order to make a product, by the way, in order to release a product, so it should be minimum test qualified, right? So that's where the QA people will come into picture and do the QA thing. And the next one is and again, I want to step back a little bit. So the business I talked about is the, making the applications, which is fine, making the software applications, which is fine. But also I wanted to talk about one more point. A very important point here is what I wanted to mention here is web applications. What I wanted to today focus is web applications. Okay, not a desktop application. So there are softwares which runs on desktops. Our focus, or at least my experience, I'm not coming from, is desktop applications. It's web applications. So web is the trend, and web is going to be the trend. And for an example, like, you take an example that Microsoft Office. Okay, so back in days, 2 decades back, 20 years back, if I want to do a Microsoft Office, then we need to go to the store and purchase the CD DVD, Microsoft Store, or whatever is the PC stores we used to have. And also you can also order online like eBay. Okay, I'm not sure that time Amazon I never heard, but by the way, at least eBay was there. Okay, so we used to purchase in eBay, and the orders used to get shipped, by the way. So that is how, at least I know, at least I purchased the uh, Windows Office for the first time. So over the online somewhere, right? So that's how they used to ship a CD or DVD. And later that, so what they have changed the strategy is no CDs and DVDs. You download the exe software directly from our website and you purchase over there. Okay, we'll send you a key of license key or the email address. And that was the strategy which went after 5-6 years or something like that. It was the strategy, it went there. And after 5-6 years, now the strategy is something like, is now where is the Microsoft Office today is completely over the web. You don't need to really install anything. So you don't need to install anything on your system. So it's completely available just over the website. And you know that, so a couple of days, a couple of months back, Microsoft Windows, announced a cloud, by the way. So that means like, so Microsoft Windows over cloud, Windows over cloud. So they announced now the Windows operating system itself also you'll get on the cloud. You don't need to really have a local system. You can have a bare minimum local system, and you can have the complete, your Windows PC. So shifting on, so completely on the cloud. So they're calling it as Windows 365 PC. Okay, so this is going to be completely on the cloud. You go to the cloud, you log in, you get your machine. So just on the browser, you access your machine. That's it. Okay, so that is where today everyone is behind web applications. Web is the trend. Okay, and web is gonna be the trend, by the way. All right, so that is where okay, coming back to the point, like, so in the different teams, when we talk about, I'm talking about the deployment team. So why? Because if someone is accessing an application, like let's say I'm accessing amazon.com, it has to host somewhere. I'm accessing this slides.com, that means it has to host somewhere, right? So some servers and all. And in that particular hosting team, there are different teams which are there, which is a middleware team. Middleware team is the one guy who actually deploys the application. So takes from the QA and kind of make it available to the end customers who is accessing like us. Okay. And after that, so in order to run the middleware need to deploy, and that particular deployment requires what? An operating system. So first of all, without an OS, without a machine, they cannot actually deploy application, right? So there is another team comes into picture, which is a OS admin teams. Okay, OS teams. And again, next to that, so there are storage teams again.